What do you think about cryptocurrency as a form of currency?
Well, I think the train's already left the station in terms of cryptocurrency. You may or may not know that I just joined the board of Ripple, and the reason why I chose to join that board, it's, in my opinion, one of the few cryptocurrency options out there that has a credible and legitimate use. So financial institutions use it to settle cross-border payments.
You want to take one? Go for it. The first one's for you. IMF. Do you see IMF holding crypto assets in the future? I did not put that up there.
Remember, I'm from the legal department. I'm supposed to be very conservative about these things. I don't want to go into great details about
Maybe I should take what the IMF is going to do. I think we stunned Ross into silence with that one.
For that to happen, okay, under the current legal framework, some country would have to use a crypto asset as its currency.
We know it's imminent, though, right? So when I say imminent, I would be surprised if a quarter from now we're really still embroiled in the SEC lawsuit, because I think the state of affairs throughout the world is such that we're going to need a solution like an XRP for liquidity purposes sooner rather than later. So the question is then, okay, we've magically resolved it. Where does the price go? It's easy to project that it's a double-digit number. So I think it immediately shoots up to a $10, potentially $20. The wild card to me is that there is actually a deal to be done among the central banks and governments to basically have XRP work as the world's bridge currency, a neutral asset that could be traded between the central banks to move a specific type of fiat to another type of fiat. If that's what occurs, it's back to what we were discussing earlier. It's got to cover kind of all the money. And I think you're looking at a range that XRP would settle on agreement. So this would happen instantaneously, somewhere between $10,000 and $35,000 a coin. And our lives will be, maybe the same, maybe different. I don't know. Probably a little different.
Audience, what is Interledger's total addressable market size? All the money.
Because I've always believed from the minute I read the consensus, the white paper on the consensus mechanism for XRP, I believed it had the capability of changing the world.
Ripple is not an ordinary company. We are not here to have a small market share or do X, do Y, and make small amount of money or something to happen. We are here to make a dent in the universe. Either we will change the remittance universe, the way you understand, the way value gets transferred across the world, between people, between institutions, or we will just fade away. So it's almost 0 or 1, and some of it comes from our Silicon Valley arrogance. Some of it comes from, that's the reason 6 years ago we were born with the mission of moving money like information moves today.
The Bank of England is a paid customer of Ripple's.
10 years out on the financial crisis, we still don't have the infrastructure perhaps to prevent the next one. And I think this is where digital assets can really help, because an efficient digital asset can really solve some of the key problems in global liquidity. The world's got trillions and trillions of dollars tied up in liquidity just to get around how clunky the movement of value is around the world. If with a really efficient digital asset, something like XRP, and that's what we believe will be the most efficient, you can now reduce trillions and trillions of capital from being tied up. So you can make those transfers instantly as a bank or as a payment provider, as an enterprise, without having to have money pre-positioned all over the world.
Look, the future is already here, right? It's one of my favorite phrases that I use all the time. The train has already left the station. I think blockchain technology will always be here, not just because of crypto, but other applications as well, whether it's NFTs, whether it's fractional ownership of real estate, whether it's art, all these other applications are there. So for me, I think this world of innovation and technology has already arrived. It's really, how we use it responsibly, how we really think about it to better our lives.
When XRP was created, this actually was created before Ripple existed. The creators of XRP decided there'd be 100 billion units because they saw it as rather than having a smaller number with a very high price, they saw it as something they wanted to be effectively a global reserve currency.
But the question is, will the value of XRP be the same in the private ledgers as it is on the public?
Yes. The value proposition of XRP is that it has these liquidity pools. If it doesn't make sense to isolate something, like there's no place where gold is worth twice as much as it is now, because if there was, people would just bring gold there and they would buy gold somewhere else and they would sell it there. Unless the only way that you can have the value be very different in two places is if there's a lot of friction. And if there's friction, someone will make a business of removing that friction. So I don't see any realistic scenario where XRP has significantly different value unless something's wrong. So like a good example of a case, there was a time where the value of XRP, they called it the kimchi premium, right? Where the value of XRP in some Asian countries was very high, but that was because there were capital controls, right? That was because things were bad. I think that's a sign that something is not going well. The value proposition of XRP is that you can take it to all of the places, right? If I sell you some gold and you say, hey, this gold can only be used in jewelry, you're like, well, that kind of sucks. I don't want that gold, right? The value proposition of gold is that you have access to the entire value proposition of gold. And so I don't see any scenario in which where it makes sense to snip pieces off, again, unless something is wrong.
Ripple has partnered with several central banks around the world. Some we've announced, some we haven't yet announced, that they're issuing and testing using the XRP ledger to issue their digital assets on the XRP ledger as a token.
If they do that, we believe the value would be higher than it was in September and October of 2021 when we were throwing out 25,000, 37.5 a coin.
In my mind's eye, there's a possibility where, we end up more of a lending kind of, more of a lender of last resort capacity maybe.
CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, spoke publicly about Ripple using XRP to replace the SWIFT system, which is our current bank messaging system that is very slow. It's a 50-year-old technology. It's very antiquated and very pricey in terms of high fees to send money, versus using XRP to send currency around the world is very fast, is very low fee, and low energy. It's a green energy and handles over 1,500 transactions per second. So what is XRP worth? Well, as Universe20 on Twitter pointed out, just getting 10% of the traffic that crosses the SWIFT system right now in our traditional banking system, just getting 10% of that transferred over to the XRP ledger is arguably going to create a $1,200 valuation for XRP. So today, one XRP, 77 cents. In the future, we can make a very good case for just getting 10% of that SWIFT traffic, increasing XRP's value to $1,200 per XRP. That's a 1,558 time increase. And that's not even the maximum price that I can see or argue for XRP. It's only my first target, roughly around $1,000 to $1,200, which I think is very doable within a 1 to 2 year period. So that's why I say if you're not an accredited investor yet, don't worry, because the better investment is actually in XRP. As I've shown you, the Ripple stock, I can argue, can get a 13-time increase, and I can argue that XRP can get a 1,558-time increase, so it's not even close. Both, I think, will do better than these estimates.
So XRP is the most liquid asset ever created in the history of the world.
Well, Aaron, now there's a statement. Why is that?
It is capable of moving anything of value to anything else of value in 3 to 5 seconds. It costs fractions of a penny to move it, and it is energy efficient. In fact, it's almost carbon neutral.
What assures its store of value? In other words, what makes it reliable?
The same thing that makes the US dollar reliable is that people end up investing things of value onto the ledger, and that use of it, that kind of value coming onto the ledger and being communicated, is basically what stores the value.
And so Ripple was the first that basically had if you will, an intergalactic currency, something that could go everywhere. The great thing, though, I mean, Bitcoin had that as well, But on Bitcoin, you could only have Bitcoin. On Ripple, you could have both the XRP, but you could also have a representation of all the other fiat currencies. So there was a way in and a way out. So it's not just the chips at the poker table. Ripple built the casino in the window where you could exchange the chips to get into and out of dollars or any other fiat currency. And so, on the goal to becoming the digital currency for the world, having convertibility sounds like a good building block. So if Bitcoin was 1.0, Ripple looked like 2.0 to me. And look,